All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of our F1 2022 My Team career. After our first week in Bahrain didn't go well, we are back. Swift and Shift Racing have returned for the second race at the Jeddah Street Circuit in Saudi Arabia. We're just going to go through, do some upgrades now, see what we actually get. I don't believe we have any upgrades coming for this Grand Prix, but hopefully before the next weekend in Australia we can get some going, but we are jumping straight in. We actually have a supercar challenge, I don't remember what they're called, Pirelli hot lap thing, which will be the first one we've done of these. They're a good way to get a bit of acclaim and money early on, and yeah, they're not too difficult really. Just kind of have one corner to go through in one of the supercars. Here we go now. I don't remember how I actually went in this. I know I got gold, I just don't know if I got it straight up or not. But yeah, as you can see, you kind of just go through the corner and proceed on through. And yeah, it does look like we do get gold straight up, so we immediately get the bonuses. You do have 3 rounds, and you do have to do those 3 rounds regardless. So we'll kind of just show that in this one, but I probably won't show these in the future. I might show one round, the round I get my best score on them or something, but for now we'll just show what they're all about, because I will be doing them when they come up, just because we need to get that cash flow going. We only have our main sponsor at the moment. We have to get to, as I said, I believe last episode, that team level of 5. We need 5 team acclaim to unlock the second sponsor, and they'll start giving us a little bit extra. They'll also give us weekly, or targets for a race, which they will pay us a bonus if we reach those targets, which will also be quite handy. So as you see here, we are on our last attempt now. I believe both were on around the 158k an hour mark. And we bring it on down through this left-hander, get on the power as early as possible. Supercars are really kind of handle very weird in this, so it has taken me a little bit of time to get used to, but we get a nice run on our last attempt there, get over the 160k an hour, and that is going to be a nice amount of cash. I think it's 100,000 we get for that, so we will take that. Also, at the moment, we're still running Oculus Mirror for these menus. I recorded sort of half of this before the race. I did the race on a separate day, so I fixed the actual recording software, so recording through Oculus Mirror and the F1 window for the race, so it'll be a lot better for these menus, but unfortunately for practice and qualifying I didn't realise I could do that at that point. So we have these menus. This is jumping into practice now, and we're just going to sort of speed run through these practice sessions. I do feel a lot more comfortable at this Jeddah circuit than I do at Bahrain, so should be feeling a lot better throughout these practice programs, getting them development points for the team and a few boosts. As you can see, our tyre wear here is actually really good, 0.95 times what they were expecting, so that's quite good. We move on to the next practice session, which is fuel usage. We do very well there, and I believe this was qualifying pace, which we also did very well. It actually projected us to be first, so I don't think that's quite going to come to fruition, but we will take that. And there's our results for practice. We max out. Armstrong gets us 150 points. I was hoping for a little bit more, but anything's better than nothing. We also get a bunch of boosts, which will help reduce the costs of those upgrades that we need. Actually really good to go for as many boosts as possible, bringing that cost down. I have in the past actually upgraded things for 0%. For 0 resource points, 100% deduction. So it'd be nice if we can get a few things that cost 0, especially as when your regulations change. If you want to secure those upgrades, they cost half of what they would cost to develop, so you can get them for free as well. So getting things as cheap as possible does help now and also later for regulations changes. But as you can see, we are through that practice session, and now we are jumping into our first qualifying session and our first full look at the Jeddah Street Circuit. It's a very fast track, a lot of high speed aerodynamic corners, and yeah, I kind of really enjoy the flow. I feel a lot more comfortable here than in Bahrain, as I said earlier, so hopefully we can get a better result and get ourselves out of this Q1. So we are flying through the lap now with this double left. The steering's a little bit awkward, sort of having to have a couple of goes at a few corners, and yeah, shake of the head there. As you can see, not massively happy, but still plenty of time to go. Bring it down here into 4th gear, change up to 5th early, try and get on the power as early as possible. Don't want to lose the rear, run it close to the wall. And again, on the power now, bring it in, find your turn-in point. That corner is it's kind of scary in VR, I found out. You have to go super close to the wall in a lot of these corners, and it can be pretty daunting in VR. You think you're just going to go straight into it, but you just have to trust you've got your turn-in point. And through this DRS zone now, bring it down. Normally only want to go down to 5th, accidentally went to 4th there. And again, straight on the power, and another DRS zone. There's a few back-to-back DRS zones here, just fairly long straights. And they should hopefully give us some overtaking opportunities. As you see the 100, bring it down into 3rd. Turn on the power as early as possible, change up, and we're on the finish straight now. What is our first lap time going to be? Across the line, and we have a 1:32.142, which is actually the fastest lap for qualifying 1 so far. This is pretty early, not everyone's done a lap yet, but that is pretty solid, and we go ahead and trust that we'll make it through with that, and we actually do. We get P5 in this first qualifying session. 4 tenths behind Sainz. Unfortunately, Armstrong not able to extract as much out of the car. He only manages P20, and he is going to be out in Q1, but already things are looking far, far better here at Jeddah than they were at Bahrain. As we move on to the second qualifying session, I go out on some used tyres first, just to get a run. I believe I did a 32 something there. And our second lap, looking a little bit, I don't even know if I improved, a 32.4. But either way, we make it through Q2, which is good to see. The Swift and Shift racing car has made it to Q3 in its second Grand Prix, so that is very, very good. We actually didn't go as fast as we did in Q1, so hopefully we can find that pace that we had in Q1 for the final qualifying session here. And here we go. We actually are only going out once here, so this is 40 seconds left coming in for our flying lap. You can see it's night time for this qualifying session. Maybe that suits us. Maybe we race better in the night. We will have to wait and see.
And that's just 30 seconds left in the session.
And our engineer deciding now's a good time to talk to us in the middle of our flying lap. You have to say, that's probably not the way to do it, Chief, but it is what it is. We move on. And look at there. He's pretty much cutting the track there. Using all of the track, maybe a little bit extra, but no warnings yet. We are not on strict corner cutting, so I'm not sure if that would have been a corner cut or not, but we continue with the lap. Getting on the power as early as possible, running it wide. What place can we put this thing in? Anything better than P10 is probably a success. And oh my god, again, right on the limits of the track there. Can be scary going over some of these curbs, but in qualifying I'm just sending it at this point. Whatever happens, happens. Maybe be a little bit more careful in the race. As we see, this time only going down to 5th. Much better. Nice through there. That looked really clean. Open that rear wing as soon as possible. Up to 320 kph. Probably not as much as some of the faster cars on the grid, but good enough for now. Last corner now on the power. What time are we going to get for qualifying? It is going to be a 1:31.5. So absolutely destroying our previous best run here by about 0.6 of a second. And that is going to be P5 for Swift and Shift Racing. And that is an insane position to start from, considering we are, I believe, the second or third worst car in the grid right now. So Jeddah definitely suiting us much, much more. Actually, only 0.2 off pole there. So that is an insane lap. 31.577, starting ahead of both of the Mercedes, the McLaren and Alfa Romeo, and a Haas down there. But as you see, Red Bull, Ferrari quick enough, but only just. What a lap by Swift and Shift Racing. And we are going to move on to the race. So we did finally get it sorted out so we can have these nice menus and intros static and not me just staring at a screen in VR, which is going to be quite nice.
And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz,
There we are.
Christie, and Russell. Hamilton, Norris, Bottas, and Kevin Magnussen. Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, and Joe. Tsunoda, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Mick Schumacher. Stroll, Armstrong, Albon, and Nicholas Latifi.
And that is our starting grid. All right.
Drivers will come out on top today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
All right, so there you have it.
Okay, here we go. I know what
As you can see,
do.
we're just going to
Don't
switch
let
over
me
to
down.
the Oculus Mirror scene because that was, yeah. I still can't get over that FOV. It's horrible to look at. But all right, we are jumping in. Going to get everything set up here. Pick our strategy. And starting from P5, so starting from an insanely strong position, we just have to hopefully keep it there, try and get a good start. Again, I'm not the best at these starts, but we'll do our best. Just try and get through cleanly. There's 50 laps, plenty of time to make up some ground if we do lose a bit. And the car looked very, very strong in qualifying, so hopefully we can sort of equal that pace in the race. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Looks like I'm going to go for mediums to hards, am I? I think I definitely want to push out a medium stint as long as possible because I'm going to be way stronger. I find the hards are a bit of a difficult tyre to race on, but I do want to one-stop this. I think it will be quicker. I'm just kind of deciding what to do with fuel. Want to take a little bit out so the car's a little bit lighter. And if we have to do a little bit of fuel saving, we can do that. But here we go. It is time to jump on in. We'll go ahead and, I believe, yeah, we'll just skip the formation lap. We don't need to see it. I might end up turning them off. I was using them to practice the starts, but I'm not too worried about that. But alright, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is about to start. It's lights out here. And we get jumped a little bit off the start, but not a horrible one. Losing a couple of positions here as we bring it down into turn one. Got to try and make those positions back up on the inside of the Mercedes. It's bringing it really, really close to the Ferrari there. But we do lose out to one of the Mercedes drivers. And running very, very close. Trying to get used to where everyone's braking on this first lap. As we have a replay of the start, we see we got a pretty bad jump. Second phase wasn't horrible though, actually, so we are improving at the starts and we decide to sort of send it here to try and make up the positions that we lost, and we did pretty well. So we actually only lost one position off the start, which is far better than I expected, to be honest. And then we kind of just trying to get into the rhythm of the race here. We see a few drivers around us on the hard tyre, so we'll have a slight advantage over them early on if we can capitalize on that, try and make up a position or two. That would be good. And we're actually going to join in and see how our teammate went off the start here. Just starting a fair way down the grid. See a few people getting away slow, and he actually goes all the way to the inside. Oh my god, he's passing everyone. making up so many positions off the start. Armstrong is here to race today as well. After the shoddy performance from Swift and Shift last week, he's on the inside here. I believe of Vettel, is it? Oh my god, Vettel clips him and loses his front wing. Vettel wasn't ready for him to break that early, and I think that's going to cause him to come into the pits early. Look how much time he's losing already. But what a massive start from Armstrong, making up a number of positions there. Really, really good job from him after a bit of a poor qualifying, but showing that he has what it takes in the race. As we rejoin here the action. And you see we are able to stay with the top drivers here, the top cars, so granted we are on a better tyre than the Ferrari ahead, but this is really, really looking good for Swift and Shift. Running P6 at the moment, which is absolutely insane. The Mercedes behind, trying to have a look, checking my mirrors, and he looks very, very big in them. But we are so far keeping him behind. I'm not sure if it'll be the same story once DRS is activated on lap 3. So far, with plenty of battery, I am burning through it pretty quickly. So the straight line speed of the other cars is definitely going to be a struggle. I am also getting used to the car with full fuel. It always takes me a few laps when it comes to the race to just coming immediately from qualifying, and the car just being a lot heavier on worse tyres. It just always takes me a little bit. I have to brake a bit earlier, go a bit slower through corners. As we see Vettel coming in for his pit stop after that contact with our teammate. Actually lost his whole front wing. It didn't look like that much came off. Not sure if that's a visual glitch or he actually did lose his whole front wing. He was losing a lot of time in the little bit that we saw. And the Aston Martin crew changing that front wing, which magically gets repaired. So honestly, maybe that is how it was. Apply the new front wing. Pretty tidy pit stop, but definitely not what they would have wanted this early in the race. Having to pit on lap 1. And he is going to be running last. But with that clear track, maybe he can make headway once people make their pit stops. But definitely an unfortunate start, as we are actually running a lot closer now to the drivers in front. Perhaps gotten used to how the tyre feels. As we see the top drivers really close to the Ferrari there. And the Mercedes is also really close behind us. Looks like the hard tyre is quite a bit slower here. So we are all over the back of this Ferrari trying to keep the Mercedes behind as well. It's a little bit chaotic up the front. So far, so good for Swift and Shift Racing. It looks like Verstappen's cleared off a little bit at the front as well. Looks like he's left the next few cars behind. We see him up here into the final turn there. A few seconds ahead. So he is looking pretty solid. He, I believe, won Bahrain, so he's looking to extend his championship advantage, and he's off to an absolute flyer. As everyone single file. DRS going to be activated this lap, so we might start to see a bit of action. As we are very, very close to the Ferrari here. We're trying to find our way through. Hopefully with the help of DRS, though he looks like he's going to have it as well when we get to those zones. But hopefully we can make something happen, because it feels like at this point we have a lot more pace and we want to be ahead of him on those hard tyres. So we are just slotted in behind. Definitely way more used to the car now. The tyres have heated up. We are feeling good right now in the Swift and Shift Racing car. Punching that overtake. Are we going to go for a move? We switch to the outside. And it looks like we're going to try and stick it around there, are we? We are indeed, and I think we have made the move stick around the outside. We're up to P5 now. And that is glorious now. We're trying to chase down the rest of these front runners. A huge move from Swift and Shift. And feeling very, very comfortable here in Saudi Arabia. Solid qualifying so far, backing it up with a really solid start to this race. So we are going to see a replay of the move now. We switch to the outside and we just have way more grip on those medium tyres. It is crazy to see the difference right now between the mediums and the hards. Which is why I kind of want to run this medium stint out as long as possible, because they just feel like a much better race tyre. Granted, they will fall off at the end, but as long as we can keep the pace up, I want to have as little time on those hards as possible. As we are now closing up to the the next lot of drivers here, and this is a battle for P2. We actually hit the fastest lap there with the help of DRS and quite a bit of ERS as well. As you can see, our battery charge is very low as I try to go around the outside of the Ferrari, but I run way too wide. Again, both Ferraris starting on the hard tyre. It looks like it might be costing them a little bit. They are probably going to be a lot quicker at the end of the race, but for now, they are losing positions to everyone. We are following nice and close. Car feeling really good. Our teammate as well, we saw him with a really good start. As we jump ahead to the end of lap 4 now. Open DRS. Fair distance back from the Ferrari this time, but we see him going very slow, and I'm not pulling it up. And oh, I hit! That is contact. I take massive damage to the front wing. I'm going to have to come in for an early stop. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there. The Ferrari going really slow. We get a repeat now. We actually see it's the Red Bull locking up, causing the Ferrari to go slow. And I'm not prepared, and I just can't slow it down. And that is very unfortunate early for Swift and Shift. That's going to throw a spanner in the works for strategy. As they come in now, the pit crew, hopefully they're ready for this. It was very last second they had to come out with that replacement front wing, and probably not sure what tyres we're going to go onto here. It looks like we are throwing on the softs. As we replace that front wing, the pit crew doing their job very well. Pretty tidy. We throw the softs on, so I want a bit of pace here. Run this stint out, and the strategy will still be to go onto hards, I think, for the end of the race, but it will have to be a little bit earlier than what we initially planned. But hopefully we can use these soft tyres. We see all the way down in P21, only going to be ahead of Sebastian Vettel with his earlier contact on our teammate, so that is a very rough start. It was looking so good as well up in P5, had a lot of pace compared to the cars around us. But we're not out of it yet. We do have good pace, so we can still salvage points, I think, from this race. Which is why I think the softs is what I decided to go onto. I just want to push as hard as I can. And it says lap 13 to 17. Again, the hard tyres are going to be able to do a lot of laps here. But I think, again, I want to be doing as much running on the softer compounds as possible. So I will probably try and push this stint out. I don't think these were not brand new tyres we see there. These were used in qualifying. I obviously didn't have any brand new softs available, which is a little bit annoying. I could have done a little bit more if they were fresh, but still, we'll still have good pace on these compared to everyone else, especially those on the hards like the Ferraris. So we just have to push now and try and close the gap. See where we are after the leaders come in for their pits. But definitely a little bit of a unfortunate happening there after our phenomenal start. As we are continuing on. And it looks like our teammate here is going along well, has a McLaren behind him. I believe that's going to be Ricciardo behind. He is looking like he's going pretty solid. He's on the softs, as is Ricciardo. So he's bringing it in fairly close. But so far, Armstrong doing really well in this race. Making up a lot of positions at the start, and he's able to hold on to them so far. He's looking very tidy here. Battle of the Australians. You'll love to see it. Jumping ahead here with Ricciardo being quite a bit closer. Going to go for the inside move, and Armstrong turning in. It's almost as if he didn't see the McLaren there, sorry. And that is going to be his front wing gone, and that's going to be another early pit stop for Swift and Shift. He was on the softs, however, so we clear through the debris left, and it is going to be a virtual safety car actually from that little bit of debris. So we're going to have to slow it down. And it's going to make our tyres last a little bit longer maybe, but it doesn't last for too long. As we see a few corners later, the virtual safety car's ending. We do lose a bit of time off that restart. I wasn't quite prepared for it, so that is a bit unfortunate. You see a shake of the head there. But that is unfortunate for Armstrong. He was looking really solid early on, and then, yeah, I'm not sure. Ricciardo's on the inside, and he just turned in as if he wasn't there. A little bit of a lapse from Armstrong. as I had a lapse in concentration myself to lose my front wing, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but it does happen, and he was probably getting towards the end of his stint anyway. The AI don't seem as we see teammate in the pits there. Probably lost a lot of time though, losing that front wing early in the lap. But I imagine his stint was, yeah, starting to get towards its end anyway. Not sure what tyre he's going to be on. But we are continuing on now, trying to catch back up. We were almost on the back of, I believe, the Williams ahead. And an Aston, I believe it was Latifi and Stroll it would have been, because Vettel was out early. I believe they were battling. We were almost on the back of them before the virtual safety car, and then I think I lost about 2 seconds on that restart, because I was just kind of zoned out, not ready for it, and it happens. But we are gaining now. The softs are starting to get a little bit used, but they still have a little bit of life left in them. And we see actually the Aston of Stroll right at the inside of Latifi. And they are in a big battle, which is allowing us to catch up, but we have to try and make it through cleanly. We do not want to be held behind them for too long. As we see they're still side by side, losing lots of time, allowing us up the inside of the Williams here, and we are going to take that opportunity to make that first move, and now we're going to try and bring it in close to the Aston, both with DRS. I'm not going to be close enough to make a move here, but perhaps through this next DRS zone we'll have a go. We open up the rear wing, get right behind that Aston in the slipstream. We move to the outside. Stroll defends the inside. Do we brake later? Looks like we are side by side. We have a slight advantage, but I run very wide, allowing Stroll up the inside, but we have more speed, and it looks like he is going to dive into the pits anyway. So, a little bit of a pointless battle it turns out. We should have stayed behind and got the DRS, but I did not know he was going to pit. But still, that allows us up into P11. I believe that's because a lot of the field would have pit there, and that is where we're going to be. We are going to have to be bringing it in fairly soon for the hard tyre, but again, we're going to run this stint out for as long as possible.
Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now.
As we are going to be losing time once the grip level starts to fall down. We do run it out a little bit longer. We're on lap 17, and here we decide to come into the pits. It's time to change the hard. You see the tyres are really, really struggling there. I was definitely noticing the loss of grip. And we jump into the pit lane. Swift and Shift Racing pit crew is ready for us this time. This wasn't as unscheduled as the last pit stop. And we're going to be throwing on the hard tyre. Nice fresh set of hards, and we're going to hopefully be going to the end of the race on these and try and salvage some points from this race. I say salvage as if we should be up there, but the car has just been an absolute monster this weekend, and with such a strong start, I really do want to get some points for the team this time. But we are on the hard tyre. The hard tyre, I find, is really, really awkward on this first outlap. With cold hards are super difficult to drive. I find getting traction down out of the corners is difficult. There's so much understeer. I find myself losing regularly 2-3 seconds on these outlaps. The car it doesn't feel responsive on these cold hards. But once they heat up, they're okay. I definitely know when I'm on hard tyres though. It's mainly going to be when they're warm. I find getting traction down, getting power down is a little bit more difficult out of the corners. The front feels okay on them once they're hot, but it's just when you first come out, the first lap out does feel a little awkward on them. So we just want to get through this, get them up to temperature, and then start pumping in laps. We have a lot of laps left, yet 32 laps to go, so there's plenty of time for me to catch up. We are in P15, and some people will be 2-stopping, some people will be 1-stopping, so we might be able to get a bit of time back towards the end of the Grand Prix when people come in for their second pit stop.
Schumacher ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 7.3 seconds. They're on old mediums. Okay, their tyres are 7 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:37.7.
And I'm kind of just getting information on everyone around me, trying to find out where I slot into the race. But the tyres are up to temperature now, car feeling a little bit better. And now it is time to just settle in to a rhythm and see how we go. Not an ideal Grand Prix so far, but It's only been that one incident at the start. Other than that, we've been driving well. Cars felt really good here, so we just have to keep it up. As you see, I believe this is going to be Valtteri Bottas coming in for his pit stop. He's throwing on some fresh medium tyres. Looking very, very good here. As we see there, I am actually coming down the pit straight. He's exiting the pit lane. I'm not sure if he's going to get ahead. Comes out of the pits. I'm sending it through now on the inside, but it looks like Bottas just going to keep the lead over me. But he has to get his tyres up to temperature. Our tyres are already up to temperature. We almost cannon into the back of him there. And we smell blood. Can we make the position before his mediums get up and running? We're all over the back of him right now. Gonna have the advantage of DRS, though he runs really wide there. We punch the overtake on the outside of him here. Looks like he just has more speed though, even with us using our battery. He may have been using his as well. And he's able to defend that position from us. But with DRS coming up in just a couple of corners, we might be able to get him there. As we settle in behind him, his tyres are probably feeling a little bit better now. Running a little bit wider there to try and set up for this corner. And it looks like the back a little squirrely there running over the curb. It can unsettle the car quite a bit. I definitely didn't want to be out there, but after driving in clear air and having the car turn in and then being behind another car and having that little bit of understeer, takes me a few corners to get used to. But we are super close now with the DRS advantage to Valtteri Bottas. We punch the overtake, enough battery left, we open the rear wing, and we are gaining. He goes to the inside to defend. We're going to switch to the outside. It's going to be who can brake later here. We come down through the gears, and we do run wide, but I think we do make the move cleanly, just about keeping it on track there.
Good job, nice overtake.
And that moves us up ahead of Valtteri Bottas. As we see here, we had the outside, gave him room, and we just barely keep the car on the track. But make the move cleanly, which is the main thing. Not sure how quick he's going to be on those mediums though. Hopefully our car is quick enough to keep him behind and start closing the gap to the driver in front. As you can see, it's kind of, the race is coming to us a bit with everyone pitting in. If we can keep the pace up. Up to P14, still plenty of time, not going to stop again. The hards look like they are going to last pretty well. As expected. Looks like we are gaining on the driver in front. Have a lot more confidence on those hards than I did when I first started this stint. They do have a little bit more pace in them than I probably realised. Probably didn't have to initially in that initial strategy. I wanted to run that medium stint as long as possible. I probably didn't have to do that. It didn't work out anyway because we lost our front wing. Because the hards are definitely a better tyre than I first realised. As we are closing the gap right up now, we open that front wing. We're going to have a look on the inside. I believe this is Schumacher in the Haas ahead of us. But we decide not to send it up there because that probably would have ended in disaster for us. But we open the front wing now. We're gaining. Once again, Schumacher not defending the inside. We're going to go for it. We brake a little bit later. Go right up the inside, almost making contact. But that is another move. 2 moves in 2 laps. And we are up to P13 now. Looking very, very solid. And what could have been without that contact at the start? It's not over yet, there's still plenty of laps left, but with the pace we're showing, it's super unfortunate that we had to hit that Ferrari and lose our front wing there.
Okay, we can take you this
And actually, I believe I missed that. Once I made that pass, I made a little bit of contact on the inside, and our front wing took a little bit of damage. I think I'll show it here, hopefully. But our front left on our MFD car information, the front left part of our wing is actually yellow, so a little bit of damage, and I'm not going to be able to run this stint out. It looks like I'm going to go on to the medium tyres. And that is another massive mistake. It was just, I just turned in a little bit too early and clipped the inside wall. And that's all it took for that little bit of damage, so we are going to have to bring it in. And I'm not sure if these mediums are going to be able to make it to the end. I think they will. They were slightly used. They did the 4 or 5 laps at the start of the Grand Prix. So they should still be able to make it to the end, barely. But, oh no, another unscheduled stop. As we just barely slow it up. Probably driving a little bit angry at the moment because of these mistakes. Kind of ruining the race for myself here a little bit. But the pit crew doing a marvellous job at the moment. So far, every pit stop has been beautiful. That one as well, looking very clean, but these mistakes need to stop. Probably ruining my chance of getting points for Swift and Shift.
Allow you to start the push sooner.
As we are down into P19 after that pit stop. And stuck behind a Williams here. You see slightly used tyres. Really hoping we can make it to the end on these. Halfway through the Grand Prix. I was going to run fairly long on them to start with, so I think I'll be able to stretch the stint out. So we are bringing it very, very close on Latifi, I believe. We decide no, we are going up the inside, whether you like it or not. He did sort of half defend, but left room for us there. And we proceed on the inside, make the position, and we are not hanging around. Need to stop these mistakes and just try and push now. See what we can do. I believe our teammate now is ahead. Even after his mistake, we still find ourselves behind him, so very unfortunate Grand Prix so far for Swift and Shift after a marvellous qualifying. But it's not over yet. A teammate actually did come into the pits, so we got ahead of him, and now we are behind the Aston. We have the DRS. He moves over to the outside. I think I was going to try go around the outside, but he decides that's where he is going to go, but we are going to have the DRS, although I think, yes, he is going to come to the pits. I almost follow him because I just wanted that slipstream, but he does give us the DRS, and that's going to be a couple more positions. So people still pitting. We might get a few more positions back because of that, hopefully. But these tyres are going to be pretty well dead at the end, so we have to take care of them, but we also have to push. It's finding that balance that we have to do at the moment.
The car ahead's coming to fit the mediums. Car ahead now running medium tyres.
A few people going onto the mediums now. Theirs are probably fresh, so they will definitely have the advantage over us towards the end of the Grand Prix. So we are coming up on the Haas now of Schumacher again. We passed him before. Can we do it again on the finish straight? We move to the outside. Have a massive speed advantage with ERS and DRS, and I think we're going to have the move done before we even get to the braking zone there. So that is very, very good. Doing it cleanly like that. Hopefully we can keep that up. Up to P14 now. So recovering well after those couple of mistakes. It was actually, I believe, it was that corner there where we lost the front wing. I just turned in too early and just kissed the wall. I believe that's where it was. And that is all it takes. On street circuits, the room for error is not much generally. And that is what I fell victim to here. But the medium tyre is definitely feeling good at this point. I'm trusting them a lot. Able to put in some pretty good lap times. See, we're actually 7/10 up over our personal best, so this is a really good lap. We did have the advantage of ERS and DRS at the start, but really, really good lap so far. And we are clearing Schumacher behind, trying to catch the drivers in front, who I believe is Ricciardo and Zhou Guanyu at this point. And if we can get both of them, that'll be P12, and then we're only a couple of positions away from the points. We're on lap 30 of 50, so there's still plenty of time left in the Grand Prix.
We're in P14. Zhou's ahead of you now. Our gap to the car in front is 3.3 seconds. They're on fresh mediums. Schumacher behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 2.0 seconds. They're on fresh mediums.
Okay, we're just getting an update of the race, and we actually do put in the fastest lap there with a 134.7. So at this point we actually have quite a lot of pace, which is lovely to see. But yeah, a few seconds to the cars ahead, which I believe we see them up there. Yeah, we do. And we are right on the back of them now, coming up to lap 32. So still lots of pace at this point of the race. So we are using DRS to close the gap. Getting the car turned in nicely. A little bit unsettled over that curb. I'm definitely pushing it a little bit harder over that curb than I should be. But so far so good. We see just ahead of these cars is P11. So we are actually perilously close to the points. We are gaining. They're going to go side by side into turn 1, it looks like, allowing us even more time as we close right up to the back of this pack now. We've got to try and find a way through cleanly, though. As it looks like Zhou is going to make it past Ricciardo. Can we go on the inside? No, Ricciardo going to close the door for us there. We are right on the back now. We have plenty of battery charged up as well. I've been trying to charge my battery when there's not much going on and then using it to blast past. As we see, we're going to have a go now. We move to the outside. Oh, Ricciardo looks like he wanted to close the door. Doesn't, though. We're on the outside, both on the medium tyre. But the Swift and Shift car managing to make the overtake. Around the outside of Denny Rick. Some Aussie on Aussie action. You'll love to see it. And we are now trying to get the move done on the Alpha. As we open the rear wing, we check the mirrors. Ricciardo is not close enough to worry us. We want to make sure he isn't trying anything crazy. Running a little wide there over that curb and losing out a bit as we see Ricciardo a lot bigger in the mirrors this time. But we have plenty of battery, so we should be able to keep him behind and close that gap back up. And our favourite move so far of the race is going to be this finish straight going into turn 1. Can we do it again? On the Alfa Romeo of Zhou Guanyu, we are gaining a lot once again with plenty of battery. We move to the outside, we bring it down the gears, and we just can't pull it up. I have to go off track here, and I'm going to have to give that position back to Zhou, because that is not quite allowed, I don't think. As he moves on, I turn into the corner, and we actually get tagged. Ricciardo tags us. I didn't check the mirrors when I rejoined. I'm not sure how close he was, and now I rejoined directly in front of Mick Schumacher, and that's going to be his race done. It's the stupidest rejoin I've seen in Formula 1 history. I've just sent it back on track. As we see what happens here, I run wide, have to go off track, and Ricciardo's close. Very, very close. A lot closer than I realised. He's alongside us, and I didn't even look. And I turn into the corner, and Ricciardo's there, and off the track we go, and then Schumacher comes around. Nothing he can do. Oh no, it's an absolute disaster. I don't get a penalty for that for some reason. And that does bring out the safety car. And we obviously got a bit of damage to the body and everything. As our crew chief was telling us there, but I have to say, this right here has to be the stupidest decision I've made all race. I've made some silly ones, but I'm thinking damage, I have to come in and get it repaired, but as you see on the MFD, you just got a quick glance there, there's actually no damage to the front wing. There's nothing really they can do to repair the damage. So in reality here, I should have just stuck it out on the mediums, because you can see, yeah, the front wing's completely green. I believe I don't see any yellow on it, so there's nothing they can do to repair it. And I believe I tell them to change the front wing anyway. I can't actually remember, but all this pit stop does is puts me a lap down in the race. So this kind of just ruins my whole race now. For no reason. I didn't get anything repaired. I went onto the hard tyre. It was just really, it didn't achieve anything. I should have just stuck it out, been on the lead lap, and fought with a somewhat damaged car. But I was kind of caught up in the moment of thinking how stupid I was, and I knew I had damage. I was just thinking, didn't even look at the front wing until I was looking at all the recording and stuff, and realised that I just shouldn't have pit here, because now, yeah, again, I'm a lap down. I'm going to be racing under blue flags. It's just a very, very big mess as I absolutely send it on the restart. I'm a little bit pissed off at this point, and I go for the dive bomb of the century and make up 3 positions off the restart here. And then I see this. I see Norris, Alonso and Magnussen all out of the session, and I think that my dive bomb has actually caused this. But once I went back to the replay, I realised that I didn't actually have anything to do with this at all. And we'll have a look at that very, very shortly. No plans for a safety car, but we made up a few positions, and it turns out the Williams of Latifi, because he was under blue flags, we see him going very, very slow there, trying to let everyone through, and then bang, 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 3-car pile-up behind him, and those 3 cars stopped there is not a safety car, which was quite surprising, to be completely honest. And so, a lot of chaos at the end of this race. No, it's not even the end, there's still 13 laps left, but yeah, we're kind of just trying to let the faster cars through, while not losing any positions behind. We made up a lot of positions there on that restart, just from a crazy dive bomb.
And the gap behind us is 0.8 seconds. They're on old mediums. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. The last lap time was a 2:23.5.
So here I'm just seeing what car's behind me, so I know it's a Williams, so let everyone up to the Williams through, and then just keep racing after that, is what I'm trying to do here. Don't want to get a penalty for holding up the faster cars. But yeah, I shouldn't have even been in this situation. Pitting in was just silly. And I did notice here that the car was handling a lot worse, obviously, because of the damage. This is an Alpine here I want to let through. And I believe an Alpha as well. All these cars are ahead of me at the moment. And to be honest, not too much happens here. I do accidentally let Ricciardo through at some point when I'm letting the faster cars through, so I lose that position, and with the damage and the hard tyres, I can't catch him. The gap sort of maintains at 2.5 to 3 seconds. I have Albon behind me. I can't really gap him either because of the damage. So the pace we had throughout the Grand Prix is just gone just because of that damage. And while points may have been possible if I stayed out, we gained a few positions because of people pitting. Points may have been possible if I stayed out. Unfortunately, I didn't realise at the time. And we bring it home in P13 after that insanely eventful race. Absolute chaos. And a little disappointing. I mean, a much better result than last weekend in Bahrain. Car had a lot more pace here. Promising signs, though, with the car feeling very good. Max Verstappen getting his 2nd win, so he is moving clear in the championship. But, yeah, a little bit disappointing. A few driver errors this time causing the major issue, which I guess that's the same as last weekend. And P13, while we did finish, is still a little disappointing for Swift and Shift. But, again, we finished. Our teammate also actually managed to finish, so we went from a double DNF to both drivers finishing, which is a big improvement. And I believe Armstrong managed P16. So pretty good. Pretty good. There was a few DNFs, I think 4 DNFs, one that I caused, one caused by Latifi. But still, we'll take P13, P16. Only our 2nd race. There's plenty more time in the season, and we have plenty of upgrades on the way for the Swift and Shift car. So, there you have it. Some very, very promising signs. We see Verstappen celebrating on the podium. That's a familiar sight that everyone's going to be used to, and I assume it's probably going to happen even more throughout the season. And I believe Sainz on there on the podium, and Russell, was it as well? Yes, it was. So Russell getting 3rd, Sainz getting 2nd. And there you have it. We'll have a quick look through the results. There you have confirmation there. Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, Leclerc 4th, and then Perez 5th. We are down in P13 just behind Ricciardo. As I said, I couldn't make that position back. Armstrong as well out. We actually had 5 DNFs, did we? Yeah, we had Schumacher, Gasly, Magnussen, Norris, and Alonso. Vettel with that early front wing loss as well, up to P11, almost making points even with that early error because the race was just super chaotic. But there you have it. That is Jeddah, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix done. We make some nice acclaim boosts up to team level 3 now, and I hope everyone enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun, this race. I actually really enjoyed it. Like I said, a little disappointing, but it was a fun race overall. And we will do a few upgrades, but we'll be back next week with Australia, our home Grand Prix. Hopefully we can get a nice result there. And I shall see you all in that one. Ciao for now.